Welcome back, Gundam guys and Gundam gals. Patrick Grade here from GGInfiniteNews.com. This time bringing you the video review for the high-grade Gundam Age model, the Dorado. So let's go ahead and start this review by taking a look at all the parts and pieces and see how they function separately and move on from there. So starting at the bottom with the feet and legs, we have a similar overall design to that of the rest of the Vegan bad guy suits. A familiar humanoid design with a little more detail here and there on the plastic, some spiky bits in different areas, and a few more lines here and there. We have some nice color separation at the bottom in the ankles and the feet, with 3 individual purple parts: the top of the ankle, the toes, and the heel. The toes have a mid-foot break there that can swivel down 90 degrees. A nice bend in the knee here that allows for a decent amount of articulation. It could go a little bit further if it wasn't for these spiky bits here in the back, but as it is, it's not too bad. And the ankles have quite a bit of articulation as well. Forward and backward, side-to-side rocking, and a little bit of swivel if you can get it around the lower armor here. And as usual with the Vegan suits, there's no articulation at the upper hip joint. It's all solid plastic here and with a polycap inside, so there's no swivel or anything there. So next up is the waist unit, which is largely colored in the purple plastic, with a little bit of the dark gray showing through in various places like the front and on the underside here. So the most drastic change in the design here is with the side skirts. On the previous Vegan suits, all the side skirts were achieved by the wings coming off the backpack, but on the Dorado, we have front, back, and side skirts, which are all independent of each other. They're each on their own separate ball joint and have quite a bit of movability. The only problem that I have is with the back skirts. They're on the large round polycap and they can pop off quite easily, but overall they're pretty good. And aside from the waist arm, there are no other moving parts. The front thing here is solid. The hip joints at the bottom are also solid. There's no swivel or anything there. And the tail weapon plugs into the back of the waist armor in this polycap here. So with the wings gone and having the side skirts, I think the waist is much more functional. The wings were pretty cumbersome in the previous designs, and I think having this independent waist armor will really help out with the overall articulation of the kit. But we'll see how it works out when we get it all put together. So next up is the chest unit, which is a nice layered color scheme with the purple on the outside, some of the dark gray in the middle, and then the green jewel deep down inside the chest there. And straight out of the box, the green jewel is kind of muted by the dark color surrounding it, but I put some silver paint in behind that jewel, and having that paint behind there helps the reflectivity of the green jewel, so I'd highly recommend putting a little silver paint back there just to add to the effect. But other than the color scheme, there's not really too much going on with the chest unit. There are no other moving parts except for the polycaps here on the shoulders and the head, of course. It has a nice shape to it and a nice design, and is much more sleek than the Zetas and Gafran. So even though the chest unit is pretty basic as far as moving parts, I think it makes up for it with the nice color scheme and overall design. So like the legs, the arms and shoulder armor are very similar in design to that of the Zetas and Gafran and Bakuto, except for a few small changes. Like the shoulder armor isn't quite as spiky, there aren't the little spikes coming off the edges here. The arm has changed a little bit in design, and there are these ports here on the side to plug in the Vulcan weapons into. The hands are carbon copies of the previous design, with both the clenched fist here and the open hand with the movable Vulcan cannon there inside. And while no beam saber blades comes with the kit, you can plug in a standard 1/144 scale beam saber into the handle there to create the effect of having a blade coming out of the palms. So as far as articulation goes, the wrists are free to move around quite a bit. The elbows are double jointed, so they have a pretty nice bend there and can come up almost 180. And they can rotate out from the shoulder quite a bit too. So nice articulation, and overall it's not too drastic of a difference from the previous suits, but it is unique in its own right. So the head unit has been simplified quite a bit in the redesign. Gone are all the moving parts like the side fins and the moving jaw, but they've been replaced by a couple extra stickers, and overall a much nicer design. I like the sharpness of the chin and the face mask there. I also think the rear spike and the commander unit is looking pretty nice on top. So a nice simple design that gets the job done with the extra stickers and the color separation there. So like the head, the backpack is pretty simple, but I think it adds nicely to the overall design. With the smallish moving wings here, the nice grille design for the thrusters here on the bottom, and the compact design doesn't create any kind of weight issues or balance issues. So even though it's real simple and small, and I think it adds nicely to the kit. So the 2 shield/beam Vulcans are a unique addition to the Dorado kits, and even though they're pretty simple, they look nice. There's 2 big chunks of purple plastic with a couple gray ends here on either side, which are stationary, they don't move at all, but they add nicely to the overall design, I think. And there are quite a bit of lining opportunities here on all around the shield, the back vents, the Vulcan barrels here up front, and on the underside, some more vents and lines along the edges. And these peg in securely to either forearm thanks to this nice peg here that plugs in firmly on the port on the forearm. And even though they're a little big, they shouldn't add to any weight issues because they're pretty light. So we'll see how the shoulder joints and elbows deal with the weight when we put it all together. So the signature tail weapon for the bad guy suits has gone through a little bit of a change. It's a little more sleek this time. Some extra color here and there, but overall it's pretty much the same. It's got a nice hinge joint here in the center that allows for some good posing, as well as this joint here that connects to the waist unit. There are these little detail pieces, 3 of them, that can move around if you want them to. 2 on the edge here, and 1 on the main rifle there. But overall it's largely the same basic shape and functionality. So overall it's pretty nice, but it does add some balance issues to the kit because it's pretty big and heavy. Alright, so that'll go ahead and do it for part 1. I'll be back shortly with part 2. I'll take a look at the mobile suit all put together, as well as the weapons attached to it and everything, and go over the posing and the design and how well everything works together. As always, thanks a lot for watching. Leave me a comment down below, or a like if you do, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you soon.